to have you here today. Has your organization been impacted by the recent changes in the regulatory environment in the US? And if so, to what extent?
Thank you, Donna, and thank you, the CRTA, for having us. We've been proud members for forever, it feels like, and we really value what you're able to do in bringing the community, specifically the Canadian RegTech community together. Um, in such a incredible niche in our world, we are seeing for the first time in a long time volatility. And by volatility, I mean ups and downs in terms of regulatory environment. For decades upon decades, regulations would always layer on top of each other, and by and large, firms would be responsible for uh, addressing those regulatory requirements with tight timelines, tight budgets, and working groups would come together amongst industry associations. And now, for the first time in a really long time, what we're seeing in the US market is, hey, can we take some of these regulatory expectations down a notch? And that's created a huge amount of uncertainty. And you couple with that this volatility, these swings in the markets that we're seeing around 20% or so on a daily basis. And it doesn't lead to one's ability to really sort of bring in second order thinking and think about this from if you were to kind of use chess, five, six steps down the line, what do I want the company to look like? The example that we have seen at InvestorCom has been illuminating. Some of our clients, as an example, in the US, who have been going through exams, Donna, and they've been experiencing examiners from the SEC just effectively take a package and no longer be part of that investigation process or examination process. And so, what do you do, right? What do you do if you're a firm who's, meeting all the regulatory requirements, doing all the right things, and then the dial from the regulatory side just gets notched down as opposed to up, and then, goes back to that point of uncertainty. And the best thing I've seen across our client base, and we've been asking them the same question, hey, what are you doing in this era of flux, I'll call it? Specifically, one of our clients, he's always very poetic with his words. He turned around and said, look, we recognize that that pendulum is swinging the other way. We know at a certain point that pendulum is going to swing right back around, and we're going to have a target on our back. So we want to do right by our investors. We want to do right by our advisors, right by our clients, ultimately, and mitigate these risks so that you can build a better business over the long term. And that's why they had adopted our technology points. And so, for folks who are sort of perhaps sitting on the sidelines and thinking, gosh, given the regulatory conundrum and deregulation and the market uncertainty, maybe I should just wait on the sidelines. I go back to simple analogies. Is the Highway Traffic Act ever going to release folks from having a seatbelt? And is it in your best interest to not wear a seatbelt while you're driving? Just doing the right thing ultimately is always clearer and a better longer term strategy for firms. And, obviously I'm biased, but when it comes to what we're seeing in the marketplace, ultimately transforming your business with technology, especially in the regulatory environment with compliance technology, not only brings in efficiencies, it just allows your firm to grow much faster over time. And, you'd think as much as we hear things like AI and advent of AI and the automation, there are still, the Pareto principles are sound in that there are still a larger majority of firms when regulations change, they take a spreadsheet and frustration approach to addressing those regulations. And I think we're exactly at the same conundrum when some of those regulations edge downwards or they're no longer on the table. Why not work with your technology partners to find the solution that best meets your requirements, as opposed to going back to the age-old, hey, fill a PDF form and then we'll figure it out down the road. So It's certainly an interesting time for us. Our client experience has so far proven to be more on the positive side and saying, look, we'll get through this market trough, we'll get through this period of uncertainty, and the cooler heads will prevail.